It's just like competing in a game which is very competitive, and we need to make our presence felt. So Indian exporters traditionally believed in in traditional markets, I think when I was doing a very investigative understanding of the export marketing problem of Indian MSMEs, I came to know several problems in strategy formulation.
Sir, sorry to
In
intervene.
strategy formulation,
Sir, sorry to intervene.
yeah,
Can you please click on share your screen also with us?
okay. Share your screen. Can you share your screen? Share your screen. This one I want to share. Yeah, just already. Yeah, that basically. Can you see this?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir. Now you can see the you have
yeah,
opened some Excel file. Yes.
yeah. So can I continue?
Please, sir.
Can
Please.
I continue?
Please, sir.
Yeah,
Please.
yeah, yeah. Okay. So I was talking about the competitors in the export market. Now, these competitors, if some of the 220 country markets we need to capture, what we require to do is to have a good strategy in place, a competitive strategy in place, so that we can delve into the market, and grab our market share. Now, what is that strategy may look like? How this strategy to be formed? Who will form this strategy? In MSME, as we see, in SMEs sector, as we see that the marketing manager or the person behind that enterprise is very important. And traditionally, what you see in our SMEs, that it's a generally one or two man show. Generally, they take the decision, and they need to be motivated, on various aspects, because many a time we see that a distant country market poses, and construct a distance, which we generally in international business we call psychic distance. The psychic distance, because the market is far away, the market is in different countries. The market, we possibly have not seen where we want to go, where we want to send my product. So what we see that in the international business context, we see that the psychic distance grew up, and the psychic distance will not allow us to put a correct marketing strategy in place. And this marketing strategy, I'm talking about international marketing strategy. And because of this psychic distance, which usually happens, in the minds of those who are the key decision maker, and this key decision maker, we generally, what we have seen that faltering in taking a correct decision to enter the correct market and reap the benefit. First of all, let me try to make us understand that exporting is a very lucrative business. Wherever we export, we'll be earning dollar. It is not only good for the enterprise, but as well as good for the country as well, because we'll be earning the foreign exchange. And therefore, since this is a very lucrative business, so all the SMEs are trying to capture it. And get into the markets and reap the maximum benefit possible. Now, how this can be done? As I say, one of the way out is to place the right international marketing strategy. And up till now, what I have said, that it is the psychic distance which is not allowing us to take a correct marketing strategy in place. What I am saying, because of my close interaction with the different SMEs here in India and abroad as well, So, what it requires actually to frame a correct international marketing strategy or export strategy in place. Everybody, those who are proponent of, international business, who was exporters, who was the practitioners, everybody is talking about that information is the key, knowledge is the key. If I want to get into a market which is distantly placed, we need to have information, knowledge. And the proponent of international business, those who are expert, and the practitioners, those who are expert, they are also saying that knowledge and knowledge and information, they are going to reduce the psychic distance, and the MSME managers will be able to place the correct strategy to excavate and reap benefit from the distant market. And that information and knowledge base, as we have been experiencing and getting information and researching on MSMEs, we are trying to gather this information and knowledge base from the several areas. It's not only on a pivotal one area, but it ranges from many areas where information is must. Now let me take you to that areas, and discuss a little bit more, that where vitally the Indian MSME is required to have the knowledge and information, which will allow, to frame a correct strategy. Now, one thing let us understand here, that strategy for one MSME will not be like, which will not be for the another MSME to copy it, in ditto. It's not. It's just, we say that every enterprise has its own strategy in place, and this own strategy must come out from the manager's mind, and the manager here, the MSME manager, must have this information and requisite understanding of the foreign market. As I have been saying, therefore, that every enterprise must have an exclusive strategy which is applicable for that enterprise only. The market which this enterprise will be targeting, or one individual enterprise will be targeting, will be exclusively its own target. The strategy that will be placed based on those markets where it is required to be focused. Now, as I think about the focused market, which also my screen is reflecting the focused market, this is very, very important. What we have been seeing, that we have been faltering in this. Our MSMEs have been faltering in this and focused market approach. Now, as I understand, anybody's focused market will not be somebody's focused market. Again, this is specific. Will be specific, where to target. And we have seen that when the competition is much more, our focus must be correct. And that is true for, possibly every aspects of life, not only in MSME or in enterprise or in export market selection, exporting process. Focus must be right. Generally, our understanding says, and which I have gathered from interacting with MSMEs and doing studies, in a very integrated manner, what we are saying that, the first faltering point is here. Now, who are the target markets? Now, let's say there are 220 countries, sovereign countries in the world. As I said, some are developed, some are developing, and some are least developing countries. Now, traditionally, we have been seeing that it's general understanding through which we go to the developed country market. Say US and Europe. Traditionally, when I was also doing a study on Indian handicapped exports, MSMEs, I have also seen that too much of concentration on your US and Europe, and as a result, those markets are very, very competitive. And as I understand, when this market is very, very competitive, it's very difficult to get in, and this is very frustrating. This is very frustrating when the competition will not allow us to get into a market where we want to reap benefit, and this is very frustrating. The manager get demotivated, and as a result, the manager has not been able to place a correct strategy because the targeting was not correct. Now, as I say, that everybody fixes his own target, own strategy, and its own market also, and that's specifically, if I can indicate to my screen, which is in a red line I have put it, that's a focused market. focused market. Now, a product and a market, this is a combination. A product which I have, one MSME is dealing, who will be, say, 20, 30 country market, will be spatially focused. We can have periphery, another 20, 30 country, but as I say, the targeting must be correct. One cannot target 220 countries, because when the competition is much more, it requires to be seen that where I should place my all my arms and weapons to compete and to grab market share. As I'm always reminding, that's a cutthroat competition in all the 220 country markets. As the days of globalization, as the technology is fast more progressive, not only me as an MSME exporter, I can see those market. But somebody in Australia who is also an exporter, he is also looking to this window and trying to get a foothold there. So here we can obviate those challenges from the Australian exporter or for Chinese exporters if I can focus on the right country market. That means we'll say that these 20, 30 country markets are my target. I know nitty-gritties about this market. I know what I require to capture. I know the specific requirement of this market. In addition to that, I can talk about that traditional exporting, which we have been believing that this is export. And what is that traditional thinking? If I elaborate it, that traditionally we thought that it's the exporter job is to take product from the factory to the ship that is in the port. The port is located nearby. My factory is located here. I need to take the product to the ship, and the ship will travel, and ultimately it will reach to the importer. But in these days of cutthroat competition, now the role of the SME strategist, the SME exporter, has been enlarged. Now, how it is enlarged? Now, our task is not finishing on the distant country market port, that is the destination port. We are not finishing there. My job has extended up to consumer, because the importer per se are not the consumer of the product which I am sending from here. But from that point, when my importer released the consignment up to the consumption point, that means how my product has traveled to the consumer, how my product has been consumed, what is the reaction of the consumer while consuming those products. And that's why it's very important to know that part also. Rather, nowadays we are saying that this part, the traditional thinking part, that is taking the product, loading into the ship, that is within my reach. But that part in the foreign country market, where my product has been offloaded and the consumption, the distribution channel is used, and ultimately it reached to the target consumer, that part is blurred. And if I do not know that part, it will be I'm not be doing justice to my strategy that I'm likely to put in place. That is what I'm trying to say, that it's a complete chain from here to consumption. My production, that means in my factory, to the consumption. This is not very difficult. This is not very difficult, though it sounds like that I need to get information from the different country markets, and different country markets must have not seen, there's the psychic distance in place, It's not that difficult. Nowadays, with the with the technology and the informations are fast moving here and there, and everywhere it is available. Only thing I need to know, and therefore this focus market approach, which is not the country's focus market, but at the micro level, a specific SMEs, one specific manager is fixing this focus market. There are 20 country markets. It is not again very difficult. Sitting here in a desktop, sitting here in his own respective place, a manager from MSMEs will be able to do that. And that's the focus market. And we have seen that those who are exporters from other countries who are dominating, they have been doing it. So this is an area when an MSME manager likely to fix a strategy. The strategy fixing starts from market identification. Out of these 220 country markets, some are very rich countries, some are very poor countries, some are medium. Different types of countries exist, different types of demand exist, different types of consumption habits exist. Now, if I can fix not on the 220 countries in market in my horizon, not my 220 country mark my horizon, but shortlist the countries which are my target exclusively for respective MSMEs and list it down and start our building block from there only. Then henceforth, one MSME will say that, look, this is my target country because my product can access to this country market in a better way. Demand exists in those countries. I have easy access. Those countries may be not traditional US and America, US and European countries, but somewhere in these 220 country markets where the demand exists. And that would be wonderful. That would be wonderful that every SME is based on their capabilities of the production, capabilities of the quality that they can develop, based on the costing that one can develop a product. Accordingly, the suit will be cut. Accordingly, the country will be set. Accordingly, the focus will be made. And that is the starting block for building the strategy. Building the strategy is very simple, but very effective. And these days, what I mean to say, these days where the information flow is much more, where a tremendous amount of informations, because of thanks to the internet and accessibility to internet, all these informations are available, whoever may be sitting in the distant part of our country, where from that enterprise wants to operate. It is not a difficult job to have a focus market. Traditionally, we have seen that the country has a focus country approach, and we are doing it to those. We are trying to capture those countries, but always the strategy is best strategy when it's a matchmaking. It's a matchmaking because every enterprise has its own capacity. If my capacity is not to capture the demand in US, possibly I'll be able to capture the requirement of Burundi. Burundi is a small country in Africa. Possibly I'll be able to capture the demand in Tanzania, which is also a small country in Africa. So possibly a country in Scandinavia or in Latin America, wherever maybe, So this is very important thing. So the strategy will be focused, and we have our respective strategy. We know this my product and the matchmaking with the target country. This is very important area where we start. Therefore, this will allow us to get down from this 220 country market focus to say 20-30 country market focus. MSMEs, now they have a relook. The MSME managers, now they understand that I need to vividly, understand the focus country, which is now reduced. It is manageable. It's manageable. 10, 20 country markets and knowing their nitty-gritties is manageable, but not 220 countries. Anyway, we MSME managers are not the researcher. We want that exporting business to get flourished. That's much. So we know our 10, 20 country market. That's a focus. So that's very important. In relation to that, we have seen that transportation cost, the transportation cost minimization, that's also very important, because in a cutthroat competition, I need to get into that country market with the minimum cost, because what we see that the advantage is always with the first mover. I know there is a demand. I know that there's in these 20 country markets I have demand, but how how fast I can capture those demand, that's very important aspects. So in addition to that, how my product in the best way transfer from my factory to the destination country, where those destination country where my buyers are located. So this is therefore, this is minimization. This minimization, that's in transportation cost, the best way to reach those country market. Nowadays, it's very easy to understand. It's very easy to understand thanks to the different websites which are available, thanks to different database which are available. Nowadays we see that this is also very, very easily available. So once the focus country is reached, once the focus country is achieved, now we know that how to sell my product from here. Vis-a-vis, in relation to this, what we have seen that there are different regulations are in place in those countries. Now I am talking about my focus country. Every respective MSME's focus countries. We have seen the various regulations are in place. Anyway, I am not very much concerned about, as MSME manager, what will be the political scenario in that country. Because anyway, I am not going to set up my business, with equity investment or foreign direct investment in those country markets. Once I have created the focus country, once I know how to reach there, I require to understand another important thing to make my strategy in place. That is the adaptation. That is how much standardization and adaptation of the product I can achieve. One thing is understandable at this juncture, that requirement for different countries may be differently spelled out by the consumer. Now we require to understand in those 20 focus country market that what is the product adaptation requirement. If there is a too much adaptation requirement, possibly when you manufacture this product, we require to change our assembly line. This will not be a cost effective. But at the same time, the extent of product adaptation or modification that may require, we require to understand. But again, see, the things are now easy because we are not focusing 220 countries. In the first go, we have reduced the number of countries for my focus. And number of countries are 20. So knowing nitty-gritties about the product, about the requirement in terms of adaptation and standardization is not difficult nowadays. Thanks again to the internet and the information available all around, which will allow us to do the marketing, to do the required marketing there. Because when we make the product according to the customer's requirement, one very important thing this gets happened, that consumer will like it. The consumer, who is a distant country consumer, they will say, wow, this is the product I am looking for. And that's basically the marketing. The consumer is enthralled. The consumer is happy. And therefore, my importer is likely to continue with their import order. That's why I was indicating that my job is not ending as a SME manager that at the port of the distant country, but rather starts from there. I go to that extreme to say my job starts from there to enthrall the customer, to know that how the customers can be enthralled. For that, I require to understand that what product actually enthralls them, how this can make them more elated than a product supplied by an Australian consumer. Therefore, at this juncture, I require to know who are my competitors in those 20 country markets. Now I have reduced from 220 to 20. I need to know who are my competitors. Are they Chinese? Are they Australians? Are they from America? Who are fighting with me? Because any export strategy, it requires understand the market and the competitors there. If I don't know my competitors well, I'll not be able to enthrall my distant country consumers. So this is a very important understanding, therefore, that that my strategy also takes care of from those points from the destination country export port to the consumers. Therefore, at the first go, when we have reduced the number of countries to manageable 20-30, it seems to be, executable. That's very important point. I just like to take your attention to another direction, that is which is happening, around the world. When all these 220 country markets we coexist in this beautiful world, I want to take your attention to another direction that nowadays we see in the macro level there are different country combination or coordination or partnership that we have been seeing is bringing up in different country markets. Possibly when MSME manager it goes beyond the domestic territory, this is again a strategic area which the MSME manager must have information and understanding, how the configuration of partnership and which we fondly call economic partnership. Economic partnership are happening into different countries. Say what I'm trying to say at this juncture is that some countries, say 2, 3, 4, 5 countries coming together and saying that henceforth we are having an economic partnership agreement. It could be in terms of say PTA, preferential tariff agreement. It could be in terms of say FTA, free trade agreement sort of. Then a little bit more comprehensive like SECA, CECA, comprehensive economic cooperation agreement. Then we have seen the customs union and ultimately to say economic union, which you see only one economic union that you have in terms of economic union. But maybe the economic union are much more, not much more. But there are different configurations that are taking place continuously around the world. And it has an implication on our business. When we do business, beyond our country barrier, beyond our domestic territory, it has this implication. Now, how the implications and how much the MSMEs, in order to make a strategy correctly placed for the focus country market, how this strategy is to be placed. See, two implications we are seeing from there. One implication, is very, very impacting. One implication of this economic partnership, which is continuously being brewed up, and 4 or 5 countries coming together and say that we are economic partner. We cannot stop them. Neither one MSME manager has the ability to stop them. Not even a country can stop them. So what we are trying to say here is that this will be executed. Economic partnership agreement of different formats will be executed, but in those we have to craft our strategy. Amongst those, taking into full cognizance of that, we have to craft our strategy in these configurations only. Now see how this impacting on MSME business and how much the MSME managers, in order to make this export strategy and become successful, how much the MSME managers at this juncture only for exporting business, not in terms of equity investment or foreign direct investment in the distant country. How much MSME manager will feel the impact. Now see, the first impact which MSME managers require to know in terms of the focus country, not all 220 countries, because again I am to utter the same thing. We are not the researcher in MSME. We are just executioners. We are the executioners of strategy, that is an export strategy. We mean business. We mean profitability. We mean our product to reach the distant country market in the best way possible. We want to beat the competition. That much is our periphery as an MSME manager. So what impact we should look into here? What I mean to say that one impact is very visible and directly impacting. That is the tariff. That is the customs duty. That is popularly what we see that could damage our business prospect. How it can damage our business prospect? Now see, country A, B, C, D is in economic partnership, but E, F is not in that partnership. Now in country A, D is exporting and F is also intending to export. Now when it is their respective products are reaching to country A, the country F will not be treated unequal with country B, because AB is in partnership, economic partnership, they are executed, and thereby this A has given access to their country of that product, by reducing or not charging even the customs duty, and that impacts the price of my product. When from country F I am exporting from my MSME, from my SME to country A, my product is charged, say, 15% ad valorem, from here. The country B, when he is exporting, he is getting into at 0% duty in that country. I understand this, one can say this is discriminatory, but at the same time, this is being practiced. So when I frame the strategy in the distant country market for my 20 countries, I must understand, therefore, that what is the different configuration. My 20 countries, who are my focus countries, where there is a demand for exclusively my type of product, when we can send my product, where there is a demand, when I can say my product, how they are discriminating. If I say at all, this is a discrimination. How much is the discrimination? Therefore, my strategy is impacted. How can my strategy impact it? Because if I do not sell the product at that price, I will not be able to be equal with my competitor's price, who is getting access to this country, which getting access to these countries at a much cheaper rate or with zero duty access. Therefore, my product will not be captured the same segment that the B country market able to, then I have to think in a different way. So my entire strategy is to be revamped again based on this aspect, that how much is the tariff that is charged, and what are the economic partnership agreement my target country, now my focus country, they are configuring, and who are those? Are they my competitors in my target country, What I mean to say, this will give a total focus on my target country. This is knowing what I call knowing the nitty-gritty, because when a traditional, SME who is, doing business in domestic country market, he or she knows, totally the domestic market, because this is my own country, because we know about the different parts of our country very well, very connected, and we have different sources of, getting information about my consumers, about my country, where the barriers will be located. But distant country, those 20 countries who are my focus country, I do not know about them correctly. I do not know about them correctly. So this is very, very important. Along with nowadays what you say non-tariff barrier. So this non-tariff barrier is not like that tariff, but this is again, could be damaging, could be damaging. But what I'm trying to say at this juncture, these are the ingredients that I require to know. Few of the ingredients, I must say. There are many more, but few are the vital ingredients the MSME manager must know to frame a strategy. Now see, what is the benefit of it? What is the benefit of it, if I know all these plus something, to get into the market, export market. One, domestic market is very, very getting competitive. As we are opening up more and more, which we expected to happen in this country. We have much more open than before, and it is going to be, in a progressive way. Now we have seen that when it's getting, demand is getting more and more, or sorry, competition is getting more and more in my domestic market. It's one of the best way to look for others, to look for others country market. And we have seen there are no less example in this direction, where domestic countries saturated and complex, by the competition, the company has gone beyond the border. Now, this is a very lucrative area, therefore, this is a very lucrative area, because we can go to some country which will be my focus country, which we can do business and earn profit, earn profit from there, which is not possibly, we can mature our export commitment or export, target, So basically, when I know all these aspects plus, which I have not discussed in this limited time, which if I can get a good grasp on it, then possibly I can develop, a fairly well target. That how much of my income in my company would be, targeted and would be accrued from the export market, and which is fairly achievable. I understand that target is always to be set beyond what is achievable, but here the respective MSMEs will be able to understand, and with these graphs of this understanding, the respective target will be fixed. And when in days to come, this target, which possibly modest at the startup, can be enhanced progressively. And there, what I see that once, 20 country markets is matured by an MSME exporter, there is no stoppage. It's just like tiger has tested the blood, and there is no stoppage. And this is the floodgate opened. And it could lead, to further more country to add up in the focus country approach, and then take the journey, journey forward, to mature our export ambition. And nowadays, it's not a big idea that we are seeing the 100% export oriented unit, 100% export oriented unit. There's no big deal about that. Now we have been seeing that it's a global farm, 100% export, If it is not born global, later it has become global. You know, it's matured its ambition, and India is a good country to set up its production base. So far as we know about the production requirement of the skilled manpower, you know, that we have in our country. So maturing our ambition to export and with a strategy place, I believe this is the correct time. This is the correct time for MSMEs to have its strategy with full understanding of the focus market, and thereafter, you know, run through and grab the market share. I believe that Anil was talking about that dwindling export market share of India, you know. But I believe that with this strategy that we are talking at this juncture, you know, we have the ability, you know, to retain our market share, you know, to retain and to gain market share, to explore new market, you know, by the MSMEs. I understand who else will be doing it. Who else will be doing it if our MSMEs are not doing it? I believe the MSME is the strongest sector in our country, you know, because, you know, they have been doing it, you know, around 30-35% of the reports are due to them, you know, already employment generator, good people working, you know, very good knowledge development taking place. But this could be, you know, another direction, you know, through exportation and a correct strategy development. I think this is very timely that we are talking about at this juncture when the entire country requires it, the strategic exporting process that we can have in our respective MSMEs. I just want to conclude at this juncture because I have given a time limit. So I just wanted to conclude at this juncture by saying that it will be a wonderful journey. It will be a very fascinating journey to take place and exploring different country markets. We have been traditionally focusing on few countries, but here what we are saying that every MSMEs has its own focus country. Not the country's focus country is the respective MSMEs country's focus, and develop a strategy from their focus country market. And the world is with these MSMEs, those who will be doing it this way. I believe that I have concluded, I have consumed my quota time here. Look forward to much more interaction and the question and session that that we'll be handling after 50 minutes when my colleague Tamanna Chaturvedi ma'am will be talking about our innovative incubation center, and thereafter I will come back to take question answer from here at Kolkata. I believe, Anil, it's the right time to hand over to you, to take this forward.
Thank you, Dr. Datta, for taking us such a wonderful and informative session. I will not take much time, and I request Dr. Tamanna Chaturvedi to please take over and and please brief us about this SME Incubation Center, which IIFT has opened for the small medium enterprises. Over to you, ma'am, please.
Okay, am I audible, Anil?
Yes, ma'am, you are very much audible. Just please share your screen with others also.
Okay, no, there's no formal presentation, Anil, since we are discussing about the center.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
I will quickly take forward from Professor Gautam's session. Friends, as you rightly heard from Professor Gautam Datta, that whenever an entrepreneur for the first time is starting to plan his export strategy, which is actually a very lucrative thing if done properly, but it is at the same time very risky if not done properly, and that is the basic objective of the incubation cell and the course that is run by CII, a very, very rigorous curriculum. If you see the session planning that has been done is absolutely in sync with what we also handle as a startup kit in the incubation center. To quickly brief you, IIFT is having a Center for Small and Medium Enterprise, and it's almost a decade now that we have been helping the small and medium enterprises to help and understand the nuances of shifting or expanding from a domestic market to the international market, which technically caters to all the problems that you have just heard, which are very, very pertinent to handle an export strategy. Now, consider a plight of a new entrant for a first time, that there can be three levels. Number one, you just have an idea with you, which technically says that I may be a student, I may be a professional already, but I want to start something of my own. I just have an idea. But you're not very sure that whether this idea is commercially viable, to what extent is it scalable, what are the nuances of creating a business plan out of this idea. So the number one is that whether this idea is scalable to an extent, and the number two is it scalable in the domestic market or also have the potential to cross the border. That is number one. What is number two? Number two issue that an entrepreneur could face is that, ma'am, a lot of companies come to us for last 10 years that, ma'am, my company is producing n number of products in the local market. Does it mean that whatever you are producing in the domestic market is worthy enough for export? Here is what Professor Datta was referring to, customization concept. That suppose I have a factory of ready-made garments and I have a retail store in the local market. I run a boutique and I also make ready-made shirts, I make ready-made kids garment, I make women, I make men's shirt, I make silk, I make cotton. Each product is a unique product. So when Professor Datta may advise you that ready-made cotton shirts may be worthy enough to be sellable to Burundi market, but for an Australian market, this concept will not work. So whatever a company is selling in the domestic market is not exactly to be exported, and it needs a lot of customization process. Number three, there may be companies who are already into traditional product and traditional market. So you are not the first company who would think, oh, I want to start up a business of exports of ready-made garments. There are number of companies in India, big brands already supplying the same product that you would want to start on your own. So you have to have a competition strategy which kills the Indian players who are giving you competition at a local level. You have to kill a Chinese guy who's also supplying the same commodity in the US market, and you also have to compete against a US guy who is running a branded product in the local brands of the US, much more acceptable to the US consumers. Now the strategy to understand the exports of a traditional product to a traditional market where competition certainly will be extremely higher as compared to you selling a traditional product to a newer market. Let me give you an example. The competition that you may face to sell a ready-made garment to a US market versus the competition you need to face to sell the same ready-made garment to a Chinese market is vastly different. So the competition that you may face to sell a ready-made garment to a US market versus the competition you need to face to sell a
Hello.
ready-made garment to a Chinese market is vastly different. So the competition that you may face to sell a ready-made garment to a US market versus the competition you need to face to sell a Chinese market is vastly different. So being talked about that you are technically trying to export Indian Darjeeling tea to the
Uh,
London market
Ma'am,
where
sorry to intervene. Actually, within just a 1 minute before, your voice got disconnected. So can you please repeat just 1 minute before?
okay, I'll go one step back.
Yes, ma'am.
Anil, I was discussing about three scenarios of a company.
Okay,
The
ma'am.
first scenario was that the person has absolutely not even registered a domestic company. They are just the CII members, and their next generation may have an ideation stage and they want to start up something of their own. But they're not very sure about whether the product idea is a commercially viable idea in terms of checking the scalability and commercial viability. Then they need a branding for that product, they need financials for that product to set up their domestic businesses. That is one kind of issue and a company could, an individual could face. The other companies could be that, ma'am, we are into domestic market but we have absolutely no idea about how to enter into exports. And the third level could be, ma'am, we are supplying these carpets say from Budoi carpets, we are supplying a traditional handicraft or a carpet from Budoi and we are selling it to the European market. So my buyer is fixed. But because Turkey has started giving me a competition, can you actually help us to survive in such a scenario? So there are three levels of incubations that can happen. One is absolutely no idea about even running a domestic business. The second level is that you have a domestic business set up, you have absolutely no clarity on how to enter and take it up in the international market. This is where you need the hand-holding support. And third level is that you are supplying a traditional product to a traditional market and your sales are just not picking up. So you're wanting a hand-holding support and a consultancy to help you understand okay. So you're looking for a consultancy and a hand-holding support to help you understand, is there a newer product, is there a new innovations, what is China doing in terms of helping us to innovate. So we actually do a hand-holding support through incubation center. For last so many years we have been giving virtual incubation. Now we have an inaugural of the center by the minister himself, where the logic of the incubation center, which would start somewhere in August, would be we are inviting the incubation support as an office space within IIFT campus where you can pay a nominal rentals. We are still in a process of deciding those rentals. You can, by paying a nominal rental amount, you can take an office space at IIFT. The eligibility criteria towards setting up and having a space in the center is that your idea has to be extremely unique and it has to be catering to any international business. The other way that we are going to work out this incubation center is that we are in a process of doing a rigorous understanding of a typical clusters across India. Suppose, let me give you an example. That let's take an example of a handicraft cluster. Say we start with Banaras. Now the government has a strong focus on that what is a need of a cluster. The need of a cluster is that the artisan is not able to get the money worth the product that he is supplying. So if a company is incubated at IIFT that can create a technology solution towards solving a need of a cluster, so if he is creating a mobile app which is technically removing all the middlemen from the cluster, and that app is widely acceptable across the cluster because there is a technology product that will be created. The other kind of support where we provide virtual incubation is if you have a very innovative business idea. It's not a run-of-the-mill kind that, ma'am, I want to export rice to an Australian market. Can you look for a buyer for me? IFT is not a yellow page. For that, there are n number of organizations which takes you to the trade fair and it takes you to a buyer-seller meet. CIN itself will be one of the stakeholders in this whole project. That we are giving you a hand holding and a knowledge support if you're coming to us with a very innovative business idea, because we have a seat of 7 to 8 in-house office and rest will be virtual incubation. So where connecting you with the international market, which obviously will be the last part of the incubation support that we would be giving, but it will not be appreciating run-of-the-mill idea kind of a thing. Anything that is unique in terms of, like before the audio was broken, I was giving an example when Darjeeling tea exports actually started facing a lot of competition from a Vietnamese tea export. We basically found that one of the ways that we could actually find a new use to a product is that apart from selling tea, there was a tea waste which comes out as a raw material which is used in the pharmaceutical industry. So there's a lot of innovation in use, innovation in designing, innovation in product composition, innovation in customization, as Professor Datta was saying. It in totality is what a consultancy from us will be will be given to you. Then the next issue that an exporter would and an entrepreneur would face is a very basic issue. That, ma'am, whatever I'm selling in the local market, should I be selling in the international market? Not really. Where customization is required, as I said. Then, ma'am, I was manufacturing this product Suppose you are into making a ready-made garment. You need fiber, you need yarn, you need machineries, you need buttons, you need threads. Now you have two possibilities. One, in order to be cost competitive in the international market, every penny saved is every penny earned. So as Professor Gautam was introducing the concept of free trade agreements, regional trading agreements, where India is in the process of signing, it has already signed a comprehensive economic cooperation agreement with lot of. Now, what does it actually mean to you as an MSME is what is very, very important, will be an integral part of the consultancy. Taking a very realistic example, that suppose I have a factory which is running on the need of 10 raw material. आज की तारीख में मैं सारा माल लोकल मार्केट से उठाता हूँ. Can a regional trading agreement help me to understand that I can really import this product at a much cheaper rate? Now, if I'm importing this product, I have two choices. मैं चाइना से भी ये माल ला सकता हूँ. I can also buy it from Korea. I can also buy it from Thailand. But do you have an idea of which will be a cost-effective thing? Because between China on one side and Korea and Thailand on the other side, you obviously will have that China के साथ तो मेरा कोई agreement नहीं है. So I will import this raw material at 36% duty rate. But if I import it from any other market where Indian government have signed an RTA, there is a layman understanding that RTA means it's a big good business opportunity for me. But there are 25 different ways of even analyzing an RTA. The minute your product composition have changed, the import duties changes even in an RTA. तो अगर आप 85% कॉटन लेकर आते हो 12% ड्यूटी है, and अगर आप more than 85 लेके आते हो तो it is 48% duty. So to that level of customization, we will give you a hand-holding support in order to help you make a very, very comprehensive business plan on the trade logistics front, trade agreement front, trade documentation, trade finance, pre-shipment, post-finance, and the last but not the least is, guys, that you obviously will have a problem that 90% of the time companies are afraid of entering the international market because of the risk. But ma'am, हमने माल भेज दिया and पैसा नहीं आया तो क्या होगा? Alternatively, if you are importing, ma'am, we have sent the money, but we do not get the recommended or the product that we actually saw in the sample. So there are a lot of risk involved. There is political risk of losing buyer, risk of understanding the currency in which you will be handling. कि मैम जब हमने पैसा decide किया था तो dollar rate कुछ कम था. Now it is a different thing. So I may be at a loss if the currency fluctuations are happening in the international market. How do you control those kind of risk and do more business with less working capital? So there's a concept of financial layering that happens, that at each level, if you are controlling recommended risk that are involved in the business, that becomes extremely beneficial to finally cut your competition in terms of the Chinese product supplying at a much cheaper cost, right? And the third thing is the quality. So price and quality are something that is bothering at any, whether it is a corporate house or a big trading house or a big MNC, even an MSME, it becomes all the more. So we have compiled almost 200 market import regulations. So what are the recommended regulatory requirements for your product in entering a particular market? That also is a hand-holding support, because 90% of the time everything else a CHA will take care. But a custom does not allow you to cross the market. The entire exercise goes in a vain. You can actually, and the last thing that will be counted for is the government subsidies. You would say, sir, अगर आप पहली बार business कर रहे हो, why don't you pick up a product which is under focused product scheme of the MEIS, which would mean सरकार आपको extra incentive देगी to work out this product. And अगर आप ये product CIS में बेचते हो तो आपको double incentive मिलेगा under market link focused product scheme. So it's just not entering an international market, it is also getting best of the government incentives and connect in the market in the least riskiest zone, and customizing your product, getting your costings in place, getting Incoterms in place, that what is the level of risk that you will be handling, what is the level of risk that your buyer would be handling. So how do you negotiate the Incoterm? And based on the negotiation of the commercial term between you and your buyer, how do you actually work out your export pricing? If you have the responsibility of an FOB, the pricing would be done differently. If it is a CIF, the pricing would be done differently. And if it is a DDP, the pricing would be done differently. Export pricing. So in totality, I would conclude that this incubation center is actually ensuring that the companies who are coming to us with an innovative idea, we actually complete the entire business plan for them. We give a hand-holding support. We have an excellent mentors, not only from our own faculty members, we have senior faculty members, right from a WTO trade experts to financing experts to bankers with us. It is one of the stakeholders. And we're also connecting with embassies to various market desks where we are basically trying to understand with all the business councils there to connect you with the right kind of buyers so that your risk is minimized, and we give you the knowledge support on all the possible various factors on international business. Sunil, that's a quick brief of what incubation support will look like, which the applications announcements will happen on our SME Center and IIFT website very soon, within the next 20 days. So people may start applying, and there's a format that will be requested. So they can be either mentors or they can be with us as investors, and they can register with us as incubators. And if the ideas are unique, my team will get back to them and call them for an appointment and see if they are eligible enough to take an office space. Otherwise, we extend them a virtual incubation where we just give them a knowledge support without an office space. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for taking us through the incubation center, the service, and the examples which were quoted by you were very, eye revealing. I mean, that was with the, you can say, the real world examples, which must be many small and medium enterprises would face or would be facing, and definitely they would like to have the hand holding. By this, yeah, you want to say, ma'am, something?
No, that's okay. We are ready to take any questions if they have.
Yes, ma'am. Before taking the the questions, I would like to inform our delegates. We are very excited to inform you about this the IFT and CII program on taking business beyond the borders. Here, the IFT would be taking around 12 sessions, which would be addressing a lot of other things which would be involved. You can say in taking the export business, like the documentation, the financial layering, the how to identify the markets according to my products, what customization, what are the Incoterms, and many other things which IFT can provide the best expertise available. The session is gonna be start from if you can see the screen, I have just opened up a screen from 22nd of June, and we have a very limited seats now available. In case you would like to block your room, block your seat, please write to us after the session so is over. We will definitely provide a link also where you can register. And yes, here you will also be getting the mentorship from the IFT Center, which Tamanna ma'am have just briefed us about it. That how we can. I have also received a question regarding this. We will send you the brief on this center again. As I said, there will be 12 sessions where IFT will be taking us the you can say the expertise, and CII would helping in as ma'am said that getting the buyers. We have a very excellent service which is called the Global Tender Service, which is the most reliable and affordable service in India as well right now. We have covered around 75 sectors and 150 countries, and we on a daily basis we are uploading around thousands of business tenders, expression of interest, RFIs, from a very small item to very large you can say high value added items. And we have developed this package so that our SME industry can have a both you can say the expertise as well as the business opportunity. So in case you would like to block your seat for yourself, if you just would like to enroll for the program with IFT, the fees is 18,000 rupees for the 12 sessions. Around one every week you would be doing around one session, and that certificate will also be given by CI and IFT at the end of the session. And in case you would like to have both the as you can say the business support from CII and and knowledge support from IFT, you can also book a package with us from around 25,000 rupees for plus taxes for the complete package. I again repeat that we have a very limited seats to offer, as IFT is a very quality centric, and CI we can in a group or in a batch we can accommodate only limited people. So I request you to, if in case you would like to block your seat here, kindly write to us, or we will sending the information to very soon. This is the email address to which you can write, or to you at this number you can call. Not a problem, we will sharing this thing again. Now I open the session for the question answer session, where both our faculties would be addressing it. And I am just going to you can write the questions in the you can say in the chat box, where we would be able to take the questions. uh, okay, uh, so let's start the questions. Okay, I have a question from Mr. Sham Gokram. He wants to know how to develop export strategy for marketing dry fruits, perfumes, and essential oils in the USA and New Zealand, and where to get the list of certification and inspection procedures.
Okay, I think Anil, let's focus the questions specifically related to incubation center and the process that Gautam Datta sir has initiated, because we are having a session plan, 12 session plan, where we can even the way we are planning to go about it is that we don't give you fish, we teach you fishing.
Okay.
So let us understand that if a particular company has a particular query of a particular product, say perfume,
Yes.
we will give them an exercise where they will solve this numerical example, collect the information, and they can create their own business plan. So that tomorrow if they are wanting to venture into any other product, they again don't want to come back to us. So this session on export strategy formulation, and session 2 and 3, if you see, which talks about product market identification, is exactly talking about the query to his solution, where any product, any HS code, whether tomorrow somebody wants to do leather, somebody wants to do perfume, somebody wants to do chemicals, the logic remains, scientific logic remains the same. So strategy to US and strategy to a CIS market will be different. So this is what exactly we would cover in session number 2 and session number 1. So we basically, if you can ask the candidate to please join the session, that will be wonderful.
Sure, ma'am. Mr. Yukle, as ma'am has expressed that we are covering these sessions in a very detail, and she would be helping us to do fishing. So that would be the more better way. For the for our for our delegates perspective, this is a calendar of the sessions which we are gonna do. Most of you can say that every week or twice a week we will be doing a session, and the timing would be from 3 to 5. There will be if there will be a minor change, we would be informing you in well in advance regarding the sessions. Moving on to the next question. Uh, can high commissions of India from different countries can help to develop buyers?
See, I'll tell you how it happens. We are trying to connect with the Indian embassies abroad and through this incubation center. We are trying to connect with Indian embassies to help us network with various chambers of commerce there, which are in, like CII is connected with Indian suppliers, they are connected with their own countries' buyers and suppliers. This process is on, and certainly high commissions can always help, but there is a way to go about it. So we are in the process of getting network with all the embassies, and I'm sure if we are going through IIFT reference, it will certainly carry weightage.
Definitely, and I also like to chip in that CI also get lot of, you can say, buyers, option from the High Commission and the embassies, foreign embassies, which has a presence in India, which they specifically tell, okay, fine, they want to procure from India, and we tell this
Yes.
information to our subscribers also.
Right.
Okay, next question I have is that, okay, what's the cost involved in hand-holding support and office in IIFT? I
That's
think.
exactly what I said. Yeah, I've already informed that we are in a process of declaring it within next 20 days, the entire document which explains the process of getting incubated with us. And there are four categories, although the rates would be announced in the next 20 days. But I could announce there are four categories. The first category of the simplistic kind of support would be any particular question that can be answered on an email. A very simple query. For instance, ma'am, what is I'm wanting to export or enter into perfume industry, and and the US market, but I'm not aware about what is the import duty or who are my competitors. These are very simple queries which can be answered on email. If there are such specific subject queries, This is one-to-one. This is one way of hand-holding where we may not charge you anything. The second query, the second step is helping you to make comprehensive topic-wise that ma'am, rest everything my CHA can handle, but product market identification is absolutely not my cup of tea. So there is somebody who can, I don't want to come and ask you for how to get import export code, how to enter into custom clearance, that my CHA will handle. But yes, I want to understand how to control and work out my working capital. How do I work out my product market identification and the buyer's process? So there could be subject specific queries. And if you want a consultancy support of say 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours mentoring on any specific subject, my subject specific mentors will be given to you. You can spend 2 or 3 hours time on a nominal basis without an office space. The third category of support will be of a business plan support, that ma'am, I'm absolutely not clear about what to do. I have an idea in mind. If you think it is innovative enough, my entire team, right from product development to branding to IPR issues to finally getting you connected is what, but I still don't want an office space because I can't afford the rentals of it. But that is the third level. And the fourth level is that you are actually incubated at the IIFT center, which means you are here with us for 6 to 8 months in an office space, and we have a proper incubation plan and a startup kit module where you will be trained on all these factors. Beyond this 12-hour session is just tip of the iceberg, a detailed exercise of 1 month which is equipping you and making you masters of your respective product ideas. You make a plan based on the inputs that we give, and my team give you a hand-holding support and networking with buyers, everything until the time your first shipment is out. That is what we understand the circle is complete. So these are 4 levels of support. The rentals, about the office space, the mentoring process, costings and all will be out in next 20 days.
Great, ma'am. Okay, is this incubation center and biz offices availability will be in Kolkata only or any other IFTs also?
No, this is only in IIFT Delhi, not in Kolkata.
Okay, this will be in IFT Delhi only. Again,
Yeah,
have a
we have an office in Kutub institutional area, so this is just in IIFT Delhi to begin with. But yes, we are also planning to expand it for the northeastern and the on the eastern zone in Kolkata, but it is still in pipeline.
I think believe again there is a question which is very subject related. Can experts elaborate on line of credit options?
We have a session on LCs, so it's okay. LCs, lines of credit, Exim Bank involvement. We have a particular session on that, so we can take it up when the session comes up.
Yes,
Sure.
exactly. We'll discuss about that, details in the session itself. Okay.
Okay, somebody, Dr. Gupta, Datta, somebody has requested for your contact details. So can we share your email address to him?
Yes, sure. You can.
Okay, thank you. I guess if you have any, okay, again question, do we have an online elaborate session? Mr. Sham, we are going to organize these 12 sessions, which the calendar is on the screen right now, which would be covering a lot of topics onto, each aspect of of doing an export. So yes, yeah, that's the same one. And I suggest you to please enroll
Anil, I
yourself.
think there was some, Anil,
Yeah, yeah.
Anil, I think there's a small change in the curriculum.
Okay, ma'am.
If you can update the updated versions, because we have included sessions on logistics, sessions on custom and clearance and excise, which is not visible.
Okay.
I think we can update this with the one that I had
Shared
worked
yesterday.
on a revised module. Huh? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will update it. Definitely, Mr. Manjunath, I will share the email address of Dr. Gautam.
Yeah, it's Gautam at iift.edu, I think. So you can take it right away.
Yes, it is Gautam
Yes.
at
No
IIFT.
problem. No problem. Yeah.
.edu. Okay, I think we are done with the questions. I again would like to repeat with the programs which we are running with the IIFT. The expert from the IIFT will provide deeper insights on on the various topics which we are absolutely necessary for the implementation and growing higher achievement growth in the export. The classes have been divided in 12 sessions, and you will have and you can say each session is going to be 2 hours. Though ma'am says it's going to be tip of the iceberg, but I think tip would also be very much essential.
Sure, sure.
IIFT would also be sharing the documents, I mean the information and the presentations and whatever the literature they're going to use, they're going to share with us the presentations and any other thing. And this, to facilitate further learning, we will record these sessions and we will share it with you so that other team members of your company can also have the have access to these sessions. And after completion of this course, you will also be receiving a certificate from IIFT, and you know that IIFT certificate in this regard in the export speaks itself. It's the best institute in the country. And let me confess, this was my dream institute also for doing the MBA. Okay. And yes, finally, you'll be getting the hand-holding support also from IIFT and your export business, which ma'am has explained a lot, that how the hand-holding is done at the incubation center. Apart from these expertise on the knowledge and the information, CI would be supporting you with the business opportunities with our tender services, which we upload. As of now, we have around 1,50,000 plus tenders live on our website, and we add many more on a daily basis. And if you see the aspect of the investments, 18,000 will be the course fee for the IIFT sessions, and we're just charging 7,000 for 1 year for the global tenders. Just analyze, if you convert only even one tender, I mean 10 times you will receive the the benefit of the same. So I request you and I suggest you and highly recommend you to please enroll yourself for this package and for this program. It will definitely worth it, and you're gonna get benefited out of the same. We're gonna send you the recording of this session, and if you have any other question which you would like our faculties to address, please write to us, or you can we will in the return mail you can give us the questions, and we will ask the faculties to address them. Thank you once again. Thank you our faculties, Dr. Gautam Gupta and Dr. Tamanna Chaturvedi. Thank you very much for being with us, and we look forward for the other sessions also with us. And thank you, delegates. Thank you, delegates, for attending the session. It means a lot to us. Thank you very much to all. Have a nice day.
Thank you from my side.
See you on 22nd.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Sir.
Yeah,
Bye bye. Bye bye.